Welcome to Two Dudes and a Cup. I am Ryan,
I am Jason.
and we are totally not doing this for the second time because someone forgot to press record.
Jackass.
We were only 5 minutes in, thank goodness. But anyway, Jason, for the second time, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Kind of feel like, deja vu.
Right? Like we've been here before.
Yeah.
So we are filming this typically a day later than we usually do because
Holiday.
and that holiday was the 4th of July, American Independence Day.
Yes.
Great birth of the greatest nation on the planet.
Yes, I agree.
What'd you do?
Like I said, I guess I'll, bring it up again.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't do much. I was pretty lazy. We made burgers, fries, and we watched Suits.
Nice. And
Yeah.
again, still don't know what Suits is about, but you keep telling me to check it out.
It's on Netflix. It's new. It's a drama, suspense, kind of like lawyer stuff. It's really cool. It's good.
Again, I might have to check it out.
You should.
I didn't do a whole lot. Well, no, I did. I lied. We went out to a party with some friends. There was swimming, lots of alcohol. I only had a couple drinks for the record. Didn't get super slammed, but got celebrated in the most American way by lighting stuff on fire.
That's good. That's how you're supposed to. See, I wanted to go out to the gun range to go shoot, but it's just too damn hot.
It's really hot. Texas is awful.
It's bad.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you don't work outside, so you don't really have to worry about the weather as much as I do.
I work in the warehouse. It gets hotter out
It's
there.
so hot in the warehouse.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Anyway, in news, not a lot of it, as we've already discussed.
Now, let's go back to this bullshit you just said. It gets hot in the warehouse,
I
man.
know it gets hot in the warehouse, and
then I have to work outside and I have to do heavy lifting. You don't really do much.
okay. Do you climb a ladder in 100-degree weather?
No, I don't have to.
Okay. Do you spend like hours outside?
Well, really, you don't. You just go inside and notice the equipment's not working. You'll just replace it with a brand new one.
Well, do what you need to do.
I'm joking.
But anyway, not a whole lot on the news front. We're in that slow period of the year. At least
Yes,
from what...
not too many gaming news. Like I said, E3, they axed it. We'll probably never get it again.
Right.
And I was kind of like me and a buddy of mine. We're planning on going to, because they opened it up to the public several years ago. So we wanted to go out to it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's COVID really did its number on that stuff with large gatherings, and it was.
It did number a lot of things.
I used to work in an industry where we did trade shows, and the amount of money that goes through a trade show for them to set up exhibitions and booths and stuff, it's so.
But they have the money.
Well, I'm not saying they don't. I'm just
Right.
saying it's a huge cost saving measure.
It is
because they can deliver it, and also back at that time, the internet wasn't what it was. So getting your information, you waited for those trade shows and waited for them to get printed and put on the news, printed in magazines and newspapers and such. So
I get it. Yeah, I was just always excited to watch them because, just they're there on stage and announcing it. Everybody's there, and plus, you can go back and play the games. And then you remember G4?
Mm-hmm.
They used to show like all the games. I don't know.
Well, one thing I'll say is without like the gaming exhibitions, there's less like memification, if you will, the Diablo Immortal, where they're like, hey, we're releasing Diablo, and everybody's like, yes, Diablo on mobile.
Oh yeah.
Record scratch.
Yeah, because everybody was waiting for what's out now.
It was just.
It is a great game.
Diablo 4.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to play it. I just don't have that cash, being a working man and a family man, all that fun stuff. What we do have is October 27th. We are getting Five Nights at Freddy's trailer. It was kind of originally probably a poor way of describing it, but a point and click horror survival game. Originally for PC, came out to the consoles. Very, very popular.
Yes, I've heard and everything, and you talked about it. I just never.
My son watched Markiplier and whoever else play it heavily on YouTube, and then obviously when it came to console, he went and played it. And the trailer looks really good. They don't look like they're kidifying anything. I mean, the game wasn't really like a kid's game. It was sort of like Chuck E. Cheese animatronic.
Right.
Chuck E. Cheese adjacent. animatronics that are like haunted and possessed or whatever.
I'll check it out. Of course, I'll probably just go to YouTube, watch
that's what I would do. It's
and
not
if it looks cool, then you never know. I might grab it.
I played it, I think, once. It wasn't my cup of tea. There wasn't enough explosions for me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the trailer is out. We'll have it linked below. Comes out on October 27th. Not a whole lot of news on the Microsoft Activision acquisition, which a lot of people are following, myself included, trying to figure out when we're going to get Call of Duty, Diablo, all that stuff for free on Game Pass. Latest news is it was approved by South Africa. It's still going through the FTC argument right now. UK has officially blocked the deal, said that they're not going to allow it to happen. 20 or 30 some countries have now approved it. The FTC ruling should come. It's I think it's the end of the month, or it's soon. We should be getting a word on it. But we'll see. I mean, I'm not. About 2 months ago, I was seeing a lot of like back and forth of saying, "Oh, well, they finally got this. Looks like it's going to go through," and then like a week later, it's probably not going to go through. And it's been back and forth. So a lot of it's up in the air. I don't see any one way or the other whether it's going to happen. So we'll see when it comes to that. Obviously,
hopefully you can just get it over with. So, I mean, PlayStation has enough for their first parties. I don't know.
Yeah, and Microsoft has continually argued removing the player base from PlayStation customers isn't going to financially benefit them. They're really in it for King, at least from what I can gather from it. They're really in it for King, which is the people who make Candy Crush.
Yeah.
I've worked for a mobile game company. The money is there.
Oh, yeah.
As much as I'm not a huge fan of mobile gaming, that's where it is.
And that's one of the main, areas for microtransaction.
Yes, which is what we will be discussing.
Yes.
But I mean, stupid amounts of money to be made there in the mobile market. One thing that you're not excited for, but I am excited for, is on August 10th, on my Xbox, I can play as a kitty cat.
Yeah, you've been talking about this.
Stray is coming.
Play as a pussy.
I don't think it's. I didn't see. It doesn't look like it's coming to Game Pass, but I think it is coming to be available.
Okay, so I would never play it.
We'll see. Actually, let me see.
If it comes to Game Pass, I'll probably still won't download
it. Yep. It will be. Yeah, it doesn't really say. It doesn't say Game
Pass.
Pass.
It'll probably come in with Game Pass later on. Just like was what GTA is back on Game Pass.
Yes, for the fourth or fifth time now.
Yeah.
And speaking of what we are going to be talking about, microtransactions is what GTA 5 does really well. I mean, they don't hide it. They don't hide it. Yeah, they're very forward in saying like, hey, you're gonna, if you want to really really do well, because you're gonna get griefers in the game, like with any online game, open world, a la GTA.
I remember. I'm not gonna lie. They have a way, because when I first played GTA and the online experience and everything, how fun it is and everything, and then I get my ass whooped by a guy in a damn dump truck or airplane or whatever. I heard him and bought me a shark card. Is that what it's called? Shark card?
Yes, yeah.
And then I went to the gun store and bought all the guns. And then, so I get it.
But the main catalyst for our discussion today came from another YouTube channel, Aztec Cross.
Love his videos.
I've never heard of him, but I did watch.
Have you played Destiny a lot?
I did.
Yeah.
But essentially his point was made that the microtransactions has effectively killed Destiny, which I think it was done a lot before that. When they started breaking up their they didn't call them add-ons, they're expansions.
Yeah.
They started breaking them up, and one thing, because the first two I don't think Trials of Osiris, and what was the other one? Not Trials of Osiris, the very first one. Warmind and
there's so many.
Something of Osiris.
Forsaken?
No. Hold on.
So, I don't know. That game, I played it since Vanilla Destiny, and it wasn't as bad, but when it came to end of Destiny 1, it's just gotten bad, and Destiny 2 really blew it up with all the microtransaction, and there's kind of pay to win now.
What?
Supposedly.
No way.
Well, Yeah.
Being sarcastic.
I know
here.
you're being sarcastic.
I've worked for a company where microtransactions are the way of it's just a normal way of doing things, and it's been heavily in the mobile market forever.
If it's a absolutely free to play game, then I kind of understand.
Well, and Aztec Cross made the point is that Destiny isn't a free to play game. I mean, it's advertised as a free to play game now.
Yeah.
Regardless if you were like you or me who spent $100 when it first launched,
Right.
Forever, 6 or 7 years ago now. But I like the way he said it. It's a free to try game.
Yes,
not a
he
free
did say that.
yes.
It really is because the reason why, like for instance, Rudy. I mean, he has pretty much everything. My buddy, he has pretty much everything. We play Destiny together, but we can't play a dungeon together because he doesn't have the dungeon key,
Right.
and he has to pay for one of the DLCs in order to have access to the dungeon key when he already paid for other stuff. So it should come automatically.
And that was one thing that the Aztec Cross mentioned is it was kind of misleading the way it was originally put out because it was even I think he said it was a trailer or announcement. It was almost like it was if you buy the season pass, you're also going to get the dungeon. So there was it was kind of weird.
Yes, they did it on purpose.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
And
when the microtransaction came out for for Destiny, a lot of people just thought it was just color shader and cosmetic items. And that's fine. But now it's totally different.
And as someone who lived in that space, first of all, I do want to say companies have a right to do whatever, game developers, publishers, whatever, they have a right to do whatever they want in the space of their games.
Not
if they
EA.
want to, well, I mean, EA is awful. But I'm saying companies, my point is here, companies have a right to make their game work however the way they want. They can make them pay to win. They can make them, just cosmetic. They can do whatever they want.
Yes, they can, but
the customer also has to realize, which, and I'm not the most.
Whose side are you on?
See, I play every side. Customers have to become more educated in a way, and I know how horrible that sounds because it makes it sound like, well, customers are dumb. A majority of the people that I've dealt with and that I've worked with in a space like this, they do it because it's what is required or because they have an obligation to the game. It's a lot. Some of it you could even consider like the sunk cost fallacy. They've already put so much in, so what's a little more? And the problem is that I don't think people fully understand that they really do vote with their dollar.
Oh yeah,
as we talked about last time with EA and Madden and FIFA games.
Yeah, FIFA's
if
one.
you stop spending money in the games, they will be forced to change the way they do it.
Yeah, that's how you take a stance is with your wallet.
Yeah,
but
you got to hurt their wallet.
Exactly. With your but that's not going to happen.
Not until stuff gets really brazen, which it almost did, or almost seemingly had a really weird shift back in 2017. So Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2.
That was one of the worst.
That was the worst iteration of microtransactions I've ever. They were so blatant and brazen about how predatory they were because it was loot boxes.
Yeah.
And they came out so heavily in the loot box that 2 days into the game, because there was like 3-day early access for people who pre-ordered it, people had already sunk so much money and time into it. And while the bonuses they were giving, like the cards that you could put on your characters or whatever, they were minor, but they were like damage or defense buffs. They were super minor, like fractions of it, or like little percent, like 2 or 3% like increase on something. But then because they got in so much trouble, they shut down their store, but they didn't backtrack and do it because they couldn't do anything for the people who already spent money.
Well,
but here's the point and why that was such a big deal. They got the attention of U.S. lawmakers about gambling and stuff like that.
Yes.
Do you know how badly you have to fuck up for U.S. lawmakers to get off their ass and focus on you?
I know, because it's actually illegal in some countries.
Now
it is. Yes.
The government.
Well, Battlefield is in the Guinness records for a tweet that they did. 644,000 tweets. Down tweets or whatever.
Yeah.
I have the article or the video of the guy talking about it, but the guy was talking about, because in Battlefield 2 you play, and a lot of people want to play
Battlefront, right?
Or Battlefront, yeah I'm sorry. Want to play as the hero, so they want to play as Darth Vader, Luke, whoever. Well, you have to spend crazy hours. Somebody said almost 4,000 hours,
I think it was 40 hours per character.
or was it? Okay,
Yeah. So
yeah,
so a full work week. No big deal.
yeah, no big deal. I mean, if you don't work, you be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, something like that shouldn't happen.
No. And again, as much as I do disagree with that model, companies can do that. I'm not going to try to burn a company to the ground for that. That's their decision. The way what I like people to do is you stop spending money in the game.
Well, you stand up about it,
and that's how you do it. You do it with money, because unless you hurt their bottom dollar, they're not going to.
And
care.
they're going to do it because, and I get it. I'm not. If I was the owner, whatever, I would do it because people are just going to give the money.
Yeah.
I mean, so you just have to take a stand. Me, I don't have a stand or anything like that, but I don't feel the need of paying to win or buying something unless it's really cool.
Right. And again, if it is literally just a cosmetic thing, if it doesn't affect game, like for example, Sea of Thieves.
Never played it, but I hear it's
yeah,
fun.
Yeah, no, love the hell out of the game. Everything you buy, at least up until this point, is all cosmetic. You can earn gold and stuff in the game, but you can use real money to buy cosmetics to make your pirate look cooler, make them look different, make your ship look different. But you still don't. And they've brought a lot of quality of life changes to the game since it first launched. But initially, you start off in your ship at a random port on the map. You don't have any cannonball. You got like a little bit of cannonballs and stuff. But you have to go around every island and start collecting that stuff. It's been made a little bit easier with one of the shops they have, but it's still in-game money that they make.
Right.
And you don't get any kind of there's no incentive really as far as to you don't get better with spending money. You just look a lot cooler.
Yeah, that's all.
And the thing is that microtransactions are starting to bleed over into a lot of things as far as battle pass models are the way that everything works now. Call of Duty has it. Fortnite has it. Halo has one.
Most shooters have that. And don't get me wrong, I know it may sound like that I hate microtransactions. I don't. I get it. I mean, I've been the victim of them. I mean, I played Warframe and I literally spent $400.
But Warframe
is an absolutely free game.
Yes. So that doesn't, and it's always been a free game.
Always.
Destiny, before it was free to play, we're introducing
microtransactions.
Before it was free to try, they were introducing microtransactions for us. Now they weren't as brazen until they went free to play. Now it's starting to become pay to win.
I have no problem looking cool online or anything. I've in Destiny I've done that many a times. I think what it is what I do not like is the pay to win. Yeah, I really don't like that.
Well, and the one thing I saw is when they released 30th anniversary edition, Galahorn came with that. Now my wife bought it. I didn't want to spend $30, so I didn't buy it. I think we bought. I bought Witch Queen. She bought Witch Queen and the thing. And I mean, I want to say regretted my purchase at the time when I was enjoying Destiny, because every time I jumped in a PvP match, I got fucking wrecked by Galahorn.
Yeah, but Galahorn is not a thing now. Well, I mean, people still use it.
But at the time, and everybody was using it, so I mean, the only way for me to get it at that time, there was no grind. There was no, like it was originally in D1. It was behind a paywall. If I wanted Galahorn, I could get it. I just had to drop $30. And
what, D1 or now?
No, now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was completely randomized.
It was very, very random in D1.
The YouTube reactions of people getting Galahorn were
or the what's it called? Looking for group. You must have a Galahorn or you cannot. And I'm not gonna lie, I like everybody else, I heavily invested in the Loot Cave, and that's where I got my first exotic, and my first exotic was the Galahorn in the Loot Cave.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
But the thing is that microtransactions, one of the worst offenders, in my opinion, is Halo Infinite.
Oh, yeah.
And Aztec Cross did cover that. Halo Infinite launched with no co-op, no Forge.
Nothing.
The story, in my opinion, was probably the worst Halo story I've ever experienced. And I've said it before, the game, I don't hate the game absolutely. I have a lot of problems with the game because I played Halo for so long.
Me too.
And the Halo, the game felt empty. It didn't feel like it had any kind of I don't know what words I'm trying to say here, but the biggest problem I had with it is I got the game. Thankfully, I didn't pay for it because it was on Game Pass.
Right.
But the multiplayer was 100% so forward with any customization options you wanted, at least any decent ones. You had to spend real money in microtransactions.
Just to look cool.
I remember in high school people trying VidMaster challenges to get the Hayabusa armor.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the thing.
Yeah.
And you didn't get it until like you had to like know people and do on a certain day. It was
there were challenges you had to do,
and it was unlockable. And
it's rewarding.
Right now, again, we're never going back to that. I just want to be very clear. We are never going away from microtransaction. It is toothpaste in a tube, and it's already been squeezed out. It's not going back in.
No, it's not.
Microtransactions are not going away. But if you want companies to change the way that they use microtransactions, you have to stop spending money on microtransactions.
Exactly.
Or else they're not going to change because they don't have a reason to. If they are making money, they are making money, and they're going to keep doing what makes the money. Once they stop making money, then they have to reverse course.
Well, this is where I get mad about, too, with these microtransactions. So say if you buy a game, a very big game, a high game that's been worked on for, 3 to 4 years. The game is complete, but we're going to give you this part of the game to play. The expansion, everything's in the game, but you have to pay to unlock it because it's a
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't like that. If you made the game is complete, send it out that way. There's a lot of companies that has done that, and it's not cool.
I think it was Gears of War released something that it may not have been Gears of War, but there was a game I know specifically remember because people data mined or something, and they found out that part of the DLC that was on the game was on the disc, but you couldn't access it unless you bought the license for it. Now, I want to be clear, and I've had this argument with a lot of people. I might have this argument here with you in a second. When you buy a game, you don't own the game. You own the license to purchase that game. It's the same way when you bought DVDs or VHS back in the past. There was always that privacy thing saying that this is for private use. You can't reproduce or sell this.
Yes, I know that.
Same concept. And I might get some hate on this. Companies do not sell you a game. They sell you the right to play it. So when you purchase it, you buy that license. And that gives you the access to play it. So I understand what you're saying. They should release everything at the game all at once. I'm not saying I disagree with that, but I don't think companies should be forced to because that's the way that they plan their business model. When Destiny 2 launched, they launched it with the knowledge that they were going to be releasing 2 expansions, but they made you pay for them.
Yeah, I know. But
those were probably, if not complete, close to when the game launched.
Destiny, I can kind of see, something like that with microtransactions, of course. But like some games, like say for instance, you could say Witcher on some things. They could have released a whole complete game and not even worry about. There's some games out there that it's all out there and there's really no DLC and they're actually good games.
Well, Witcher has 2 DLCs, Blood and Wine. And,
just 2. Yeah.
Blood and Wine, which I think is the vampire one.
Yes.
And there's the other one. I don't know what it is.
I don't remember. I played them and I beat all of them and they're great, but I don't remember.
But I mean, again, I think companies have a right to do what they want. And if you don't like what that company is doing, don't support that company. Don't spend money with that company.
Yeah, I know. I get it. And we have the right, we have the option to do whatever we want. And I get what she's talking about, the license. That makes complete sense. But I don't know, man.
Other examples of it, or at least another example. Did you ever play Fallout 76?
No, I did not. I bought it, but I didn't play it. So no matter what, they got my money. Yeah. But I heard that was kind of bad.
It launched and it was super empty because they didn't have an NPC. So it was a Fallout game without any of the charm that made it a Fallout game. Yeah. So there was no NPCs. The side missions were very big. I mean, all of it's been changed now.
Yeah, it's for the better.
It's one of those like, well, it like Battlefront. Hey, I know we released that game like garbage 7 years ago, but it's fixed now. You can come back and play it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But you've burned enough people.
Exactly. Nobody wants to go back to it. That's why they're selling it for so cheap.
Well, and the thing is that people... The problem is that people like me who are going to stop playing a game and not spending more money in it because I feel like I got burned, I'm not their target audience. And I know this from the industry I've worked in. The target audience is the people who spend stupid amounts of money. And I'm not talking about...
Most of the time, it's the kids.
Kids with their parents' credit cards.
Exactly.
Technically. But that's...
Fortnite.
What?
Fortnite.
Yeah, but that's poor parenting. I will 100% say that.
I definitely agree.
I worked... another company I worked for, I worked in their customer service department. We had to deal with, hey, I saw this charge from, for such and such amount. So we're like, hey, let's look up that account. Hey, it was purchased on this account. I never gave my son permission. You guys are stealing. It's never how it worked. It was always, and I will say this.
Because you can put a lock on that, can't you?
Yes, you can.
Exactly.
And nobody does. So I will say right now.
That's their fault.
That's 100%. That's what I'm getting to. If as a parent, if your kid spent any amount of money, whether it be on iTunes or the App Store, Android, Google Play Store, Xbox, PlayStation,
Anything.
Switch, Steam, anything. If they ever spent any money without and I'm doing air quotes. I know we don't have video yet. We're coming, but air quotes. Knowledge without their permission, you absolutely gave your permission when you put the fucking credit card on the goddamn account.
Yes.
So if your kid spent $700, $800, $900 or more, which I've seen, it is 100% on the parent. Oh my god, it was always. It never made me happy because I was a parent, but it was just like, how stupid do you really have to be?
It's common sense. I mean, you should know how your kid is. I'm not saying that's bad on the kid. Well, I mean, but it's really your fault.
Yeah.
You should have. That's how you teach the kids.
Yeah, and I will say, I've got 3 children. One of my kids has made a purchase without my knowledge, but it was 100% my fault. My son bought Uno. And I know because I was sitting there and I was letting him play on my Xbox. I forget what I was letting him play.
I heard that's a fun game to play online.
Uno?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I own it. I'm never going to spend it again. Or never going to touch it.
I think I have the game. We should play.
Might have to play. Anyway, I was sitting there. I went to the bathroom and I got a little alert on my phone. I looked down. It's my email. It was like, hey, thank you for your Microsoft purchase. And I was like, what Microsoft purchase? And I looked down, and it was like, "Thank you for buying Uno," and it was only like $4 or $5.
Yeah, it's not that much, but still,
the
principle.
And I do understand parents, freaking out when they see a charge because, I've seen charges from like $20 to like $700, $800, $900.
Yeah.
I've seen that before, so I understand parents calling in, the ones that talk to me, freaking out. But I understand that. What I never understood was the blame on the company for doing it.
No, it's not their fault.
And not every parent was like that. I got some parents like, I totally forgot I had this on there. And fine. Whether they came at me hot or whether they came at me totally cool, we always submitted to get them a refund. And I don't remember any situation where they didn't get a refund.
They never gave a refund? Or
no, they got their refunds.
Okay.
The only time I think that it wouldn't have counted is if it had been like a repeat thing. Like if this is like a third time we've done it for you.
Is there like a time limit too?
Technically, yes.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Well, I mean, even technically in the terms of service, it's all sales are final. No company is under any obligation to, like the company I worked for was under no obligation to give you a refund. But again, just
good customer service yeah.
and understand that people, mistakes are made and things happen.
Stuff does happen, but yeah, like you said, I think it's a repeat. Nah.
But I mean, one of the early companies I worked for had an app store. That's all I will say about it. And all the time, I got like $400 and look up in Microtransactions. They were buying brains or gold or gems or something.
And that's where cell phones are the worst.
Yes.
Those type of games are the worst in my.
Well, and especially at the time, smartphones were kind of starting. They were still coming into their own.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of there was a learning curve for sure. And that's one thing
I'm sure it's really bad now.
I don't know. I haven't worked in that industry for over a decade now. But yeah, it was definitely some fun stories I got out of that. But going back, like Fallout 76, they launched the game with a lot of there was a lot of empty promises. Isn't
that most games though now?
Yeah, I mean it is. But that's okay. They fix them later because
that's the whole point. They'll fix them later.
Yeah, and we touched on that last time, is they release these games unfinished. The problem I have with Fallout 76 is, like, a lot of people were saying, hey, maybe we can have private servers so we don't have to deal with the griefers. Because the way that Fallout 76 did their combat system, for example, you and I don't know each other, we run into each other. We have the option to be hostile or just let each other pass. Well, you can start shooting me, and it will do like a really, really reduced amount of damage unless I retaliate.
And then
it's full damage, full stuff. So it was kind of done in a way to help not have griefers come in, because the thing you don't want any of your new players, whether you're
an asshole in that.
Well, again, whether you're a shitty company or not, the one thing you don't want is your new players getting completely alienated and shit on.
That makes sense.
Coming out the gate, or in this case, the vault. But the thing is that later on, what?
I said they should put that in Starfield.
I think Starfield is a single player game, but
I know, but that'd be kind of cool though. Don't you think?
What, to shit on people as they come out?
No, I don't know. I think co-op wise in Starfield be pretty cool.
I mean, they might.
Say you're just chilling in space, and you're on your spaceship, and you had to go use the restroom, but you still left it there. Somebody comes in, hijack your shit, kill you. That'd be kind of funny.
I have 3 words for you on that. No Man's Sky.
I still need to play. So you can't do that in No Man's Sky?
You can't hijack people, but yeah, you can mess people up. I mean, but again,
I'm gonna have to play that now.
For the record, No Man's Sky is so massive.
That's one of the games too. That wasn't a complete game.
Oh, it was.
But now it's way better.
Oh yeah,
it should have released how it is now.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, the thing is, oh my god, that was such a disaster. He went on a talk show.
I know.
And was like, yeah.
Well, they were getting lawsuits because of that game.
I'm sure.
Because it wasn't how they portrayed it.
Yeah, no, that was 100% absolutely. They lied to people about how that game was going to be. It was nowhere near where it should have been. And there was I forget the amount, some quintillion, sextillion, gajillion, what? Quintillion.
Okay, was this a species in the game or something?
No, that's a number, Jason.
I know.
Okay. All right. Yeah, sure. He was messing with me, guys. No, that amount of planets, and everything was procedural generated. So, and the one thing the guy said, because I think 2 days into the game, 2 players, because people were trying to find each other. Yeah. They were like, oh, we can find each other. So they got into a point where they were actually at the same exact coordinates. They were both there, and they took pictures, and they were standing in the same spot, but they were both in their own instances. So neither one of them could actually see each other because they weren't in the same game, essentially.
Yeah.
And I think the guy, the spokesperson said he didn't think that players would be able to do it that quickly. And it's one of those things, just don't challenge people.
Yeah, they're going to find a way. There's so many things I've seen, how do you think of this, man?
Another good example of that is Doom speedruns. The speedrunners, they exploit all these kind of things.
Yeah.
And the developers of Doom actually sat down and watched this guy's speedrun. And he got out of the map and got launched across to complete a level really quick. And you could hear one of them go, wasn't that your job to make sure people couldn't do that? But again, people
I mean, that's like in all games. For instance, what we were talking about earlier, Destiny. There's people that glitch and did something within the raid and then complete it. So, yeah.
And again, it's just people will always, in the words of the immortal Jeff Goldblum, life will find a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Substitute life for a gamer.
Yeah, they'll find a way. So it's actually entertaining to watch, though. I like watching stuff like that.
Yeah, no, and the thing with Fallout 76, and I don't know if I said, so a lot of the stuff that they promised, like private servers and stuff, they did come out. You just now have to pay for them. On a subscription-based service, which is, in my opinion, is worse than a battle pass, because while a battle pass gives you an obligation to complete it, a subscription service will give you an obligation to continue playing.
I wonder how much they make off of that. That has to be just for the diehards.
At this point, maybe. But they still have a lot of microtransactions. It's like atoms or something. What's their? Let me see.
The little boy or
Well,
the vault guy or whatever.
Vault Boy.
Yeah.
76.
So that should tell you I don't play the games like you do on that one. Have you played all the Fallouts?
I never played 1 or 2. I'm not. There's no way in hell I'm doing that.
I mean, they look cool, but I'll get bored of them easily.
I'm trying to see what the premium currency is called. Obviously, caps are what you spend in the game.
What caps?
Yeah, it's atoms or something like that, and it's what allows you to buy like their. Fallout First is what it's called.
Fallout First.
Mm-hmm. So it's microtransactions. Yeah, they're called atoms.
Yeah.
And everybody has one. Destiny's is silver.
Yes.
Call of Duty's is COD points.
COD points.
I
know Rainbow Six has it.
Microsoft used to have it. Did you play on the 360?
Yes.
You had to buy Microsoft points.
Yes. But you can still buy Microsoft points. You know that, right? Yeah, I do it sometimes. Like if you're, like say for instance, I have Game Pass, but I'm the Ultimate member or whatever. Mm-hmm. They have a rewards thing.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not talking about the rewards thing.
Well, you go to rewards things and get your Microsoft points.
Well, you get Microsoft. They're called Xbox gift cards.
Yeah, well,
but what I'm saying is
the same thing. But I know what you're talking about.
On the 360, you used to spend like $10 to buy 1,200. Like the current,
I think it's $19
for like 1,200 Microsoft points, and they went away from it because I can't verify this. I'm fairly certain they were sued because it never made sense.
It didn't make sense
because you go buy a game or something like or DLC or something.
Well, speaking of that, so
I think it was 80 points was $1. I think that's what it was.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, say for instance, you're playing a game, right? And you go to their store, and say you see like a cool cosmetic thing that you like. You know how they have these little packs. You buy a certain amount of points, and you get this amount of, I guess what? Like, say for instance, Call of Duty. What was there like 1,200 points, COD points, for like $5 or $10?
I think it's 10.
Well, anyway, say there's a skin you want,
mm-hmm.
and you would think you just have to buy one pack in order to get that, but they do it to where they got it to where, well, no, you're missing 100 more points, so you have to buy another one.
Mm-hmm. So you try to buy the next, and
that's what I hate that too.
And see, it's funny. So I've got the COD points pulled up. So 200 CP is $1.99, 500 CP $4.99.
Yeah,
1,000 CP is $9.99, but you get a bonus
100.
If you buy 20, you get 2,000.
So that's so say if you buy that's 1,100 right there, but the skin's going to cost 1,200.
Well, but I think it actually works in a different way. So people like things to be even.
Yes.
So you're gonna buy. Let's say you want to buy that skin that's 1,200 COD points. Well, you're gonna go buy 2,400 COD points. So you spent $20,
and you still got some left over.
You got some left over. Well, now you see this thing that's 800. Okay, I'm gonna go spend 800 COD points. Well, now you have 400 COD points.
But you can go and buy that 500 right there. That's for $5.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now you have 900. But nothing. It almost never will equal out.
Never.
And
that's. I get it.
Yes.
That's how they make money.
And again, I don't have a problem with that model. But even Call of Duty just recently,
I just hate it, but I don't have a problem.
And I know you and I aren't playing Call of Duty anymore, but they fell victim to this because I think some of the new the new skins you give you like DMZ buffs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they do.
So that's a now pay to win thing.
Exactly.
Because DMZ now, if DMZ was PvP or PvE, but it's PvE VP, which is player versus environment versus player. It's not just player versus player. It's not just player versus environment. You're playing against other players. So now you have an advantage over people who didn't spend money or couldn't spend money.
Well, and you still have that in actual Warzone. Say, for instance, you buy a skin, and they got some cool guns. Those guns are so-called pro guns to where they're balanced out to less recoil and all that. So, yeah.
And again, it will always come down to the people who want to spend money. They're going to spend money. They're not going to change anything about the way they do things unless they have to, and they don't have to unless they're not making money.
And like I said, microtransaction it's not bad. It's just I don't want them to do it so much to where it's going to kill the game, like Destiny.
In fairness, it's one of those things where every good thing is going to come to an end.
Yeah, that's why this was last year Destiny.
Yeah, I don't think any game. Actually, I'm gonna back that statement up. I don't think a lot of games can go on a lifespan without doing some kind of pay to win model.
You have to spice it up.
But you've got games like Star Wars: The Old Republic, World of Warcraft, the MMOs.
Yes.
That go forever. Now, those are different because they're not a 1 year hit and 1 year. Call of Duty they have to pump out a game every year now. Assassin's Creed had to change the way that they do it because one, Unity was a total failure, and people stopped playing their games because they were dishing out a new one every year. They found
I was one of them.
They found a formula that worked. I think with Origins, with the Valhalla,
because they're waiting like 2 to 3 years.
Now they're every other year, which again they changed the way they do business because it hurt their bottom dollar.
Exactly.
Once it hurts their bottom dollar, then they have to shift. But games like Call of Duty, and the one thing right before I stopped playing Call of Duty, I don't have problems with skin. I know they released like Shredder and like Tim the Tatman had one, Nick Merckx had one. They released those, which were cool. But Call of Duty is not the Call of Duty I played.
No.
Not the Call of Duty I like.
No.
I really love the original Modern Warfare series.
That's still the best. Modern Warfare 2 is the best game ever.
I don't like the operators the way that they are. I remember, and again, I know why they can't do it because of the political climate we're in, but I liked the Americans versus the not Americans, or the Russians versus the not Russians, or the Russians versus America. I understand.
So, question: what is your favorite campaign in Modern Warfare 2?
What are you talking about?
The campaign, like in Modern Warfare 2, the story. What was one? I'm sorry, not campaign. What's your favorite part of that campaign? Like
of the missions of the most recent one?
No, of the old school.
Old school. I mean, all Ghillie Dub's got to be up there.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. I was just seeing if you're going to be an asshole or not, because I think we know what mission I'm talking about.
Oh, no Russian?
Yeah.
Which, fun fact.
That was so crazy. I remember that.
Oh, God.
I was like, are you serious?
But they did that for shock factor, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, and I don't think, that's one thing I think news outlets pride themselves on a little too much. Like, well, we're bringing you the news. No, you're giving free advertisement to that game.
Yes, you are.
Because that game was an amazing seller at the time. Because even non-gamers got wind of it.
Oh yeah, of that mission.
Yeah, and just because of the mission, which they were like, oh no, you can go ahead and you can skip it, which I think was a smart move on Activision's part by not forcing you to murder innocent civilians.
I get it. I mean, I played it all.
Yeah, no, I
multiple times.
Let's just hope for your and my sake that they don't ever release any like voice recordings from any Xbox Live or PlayStation parties from the past.
Oh man, it was so bad. That's where you became a man.
I have to agree with that. Yeah.
That was great.
Things were said about me. Things were said about I did not know my mother.
I don't know how many times my mom was going to.
My mom was a very, very different person than the one I understood because.
I think my butthole was talked about a lot.
Oh, lots. There were some.
There was some crazy stuff though. God, it was great.
Oh, good times, good times. But like I said, the one of my biggest worries, and I don't worry about it as much anymore because Battlefront 2 had less of a the impact wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be. But kind of like we mentioned near the beginning is that when they got attention of U.S. lawmakers.
Yeah.
The biggest concern I have about that is if something like that happens again. The problem is, and I think it's kind of happening right now with AI, which is discussion for another day. But when you get the attention of like U.S. lawmakers, or I think any country's lawmakers, it is so many people who are so out of touch with what reality is.
Yes.
And they start making laws, they start making rules, they start implementing things that really prohibit and stunt the growth of an industry.
Yeah.
For example, AI. I understand everybody's scared about it. I understand why people are scared about it. It's a very, I think, real concern for people to have.
I'm not ready for it.
But again, I think that's the problem with U.S. lawmakers, things advance so rapidly now, technologically, everything.
That's a really good topic too.
And again, we can discuss maybe a discussion for another day. But I think, at least with the way that the U.S. lawmakers were going about absolutely outright banning microtransactions, which I know every game company has their lobbyists that may probably put a stop to that pretty quick. But if game companies aren't careful with the way that they advertise and work things, like if they don't self-regulate a little bit, they're going to run into problems, which I think is going to hurt not just those companies, but the industry as a whole.
Right.
I mean, as I've already discussed, I get burnt out on games because there's a lot of games out there and there's not a lot to play. It's like cable.
A lot of games, but not quality.
Right. Not a lot of quality games. So that's the one thing that I think, if any game company isn't going to change the way that they're going to do business, they need to at least watch the way they're doing business so they don't run into something like Battlefront 2, which got everybody up in a tizzy.
Have you heard what China does? I think it was China. I was reading about.
Are you talking about other than the human rights violations that they have?
Right. No, they have it to where in microtransaction, like if you're playing a game, you can only spend so much a day and only buy so many a day or something like that.
Well, and again, that's fine, but I don't want that to be the way of things.
Right.
Because again, that's one thing. We just celebrated our independence. I love being able to do whatever the hell I want.
I know. I agree.
So if I want to go dump $80,
I want to have my options.
Yeah, if I want to go dump $80, but my government says no, you can only spend $7 today, so I've got to wait friggin' 10 weeks to go buy all the stuff I want. That's
controlling.
Yeah, not a route I want to go. So
no.
But again, just to kind of recap, companies can do what they want. You vote with your dollar. That's the way it is. So.
Yeah, that is. But I don't know. Microtransaction, it's not going nowhere. You just got to get used to it. As long as it's not like a pay-to-win kind of thing, I'm not going to be mad about it.
Yeah. But again, like as we discussed, it seems to always work its way into a pay-to-win situation.
It does. Because with Destiny, because I'm diehard Destiny, and I'm not going to lie, I spent some money in cosmetics, emotes, and stuff like that. But then once they go, like, for instance, the new Battle Pass they have, there's like a certain material that you need in order to upgrade weapons or armor that you can do at the I forgot where you can.
Talking about the synth stuff, or
something like that. I mean, that's
insight.
Hard.
The insight.
Yeah, that's hard to get in the game. Mm-hmm. So what's the best way to do it? Battle Pass. You have to pay for the Battle Pass, but it's fine. But say you don't want to grind out the game, play the game, and work your way leveling up the Battle Pass. All you have to do is just. Say you're at what? It goes to 1 to 100, right? Mm-hmm. Say you're at 5, and you look at it. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go pay all the way to 100. Pay to win.
Right. And that's the thing is I remember, and Aztec Cross did touch on that too. He said originally you weren't able to buy levels up until like the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's right.
But again, the company, Bungie,
they can do what they want,
right? But the thing is, you look at it from Bungie's perspective of making money. That's your only goal, is to make money. Get away from the fact that you don't want customers to be whatever. They saw, well, hey, in the last 2 to 3 weeks, we got a fuck ton of money. Why not just get that at the beginning?
Yeah, I know.
And then let them spend money on. Again, it doesn't.
Well, this is the last year of Destiny, so I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with their new game Marathon and how that's going to be with the microtransaction.
They're going to find out what works in Destiny, what gets them the most money. They're watching things, and I don't necessarily they're watching our podcast. If they are, hey,
yeah.
But no, they're going to be watching what the overall thing is on like things like Twitter and YouTube and all that. Right. They're going to see what the main idea is, and they're going to do what is the most profitable.
Well, that was what makes America great.
It is.
Can't hate on that.
Nope. So again, thanks for joining us today, guys. We should have video next week, maybe.
That's what we're thinking. We're hoping that we're going to have video next week, and it'll be more entertaining for y'all.
More stuff to come.
Next week, I don't know exactly what we're going to talk about, but we're leaning towards maybe more of tech, maybe VR, Apple greatness.
Oh my God. We'll see.
I don't know. That VR is very expensive, but it looks cool.
It's not like a microtransaction either.
Oh, I'm sure you can do microtransactions on
there. Sure there will be. All right. Well, until next guy. Nick. I can talk.
Are you good?
I think so. I might have had a stroke. Who knows? Anyway, I'm Ryan.
Well, don't fall. I'm Jason.
Thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you next
All
time.
right. Later, guys.